begin. I've been struggling with some of the technical issues associated with integrating ASI Studio and the Snipping Tool app. Do have it set up now, I do believe. What we're seeing is a small image of Jupiter in the middle of the screen. Jupiter is about it is being partially blocked by the observatory roof, but we'll go from here just to develop our chops using this approach. So what I'm going to do here is, it is Tuesday night, March 25th, 7:50 p.m. I've had to create a rectangle around the ASI Studio display. We're going to do a little zoom in and see what we get with Jupiter. I do believe I saw the great red spot earlier. I'm just going to keep pushing it, and you might be seeing the red spot right about there. So I'm not going to spend much time on this. I just want to get a sense of the seeing by continuing to push the zoom and maybe play a little bit with the scope focus, which is a little problematic because you're messing around with optical tube assembly itself. That looks to be about the best focus right there. There is some clouds in the sky, as you can tell from looking at this. This is back it down to 300% image. You divide that by 20 and you get 15. You multiply it by 50 and you get about 750x. Okay, so the clouds are patchy. It should be emerging into the light soon. And then we will begin with a 3-star, at least a single star. And I do believe I know why I had issues last night with alignment. And that had to do with the imager. ZWO imager is quite heavy and it can tend to rotate in the optical tube assembly. You really have to crank down on the twist knobs. Obviously the clouds are now covering Jupiter pretty thoroughly. So we will back to the normal 20%. E-zoom. Last night I was able to confirm things do get brighter as you zoom. Let's go to a full field of 40%, which means we're operating at about 80 to 90x. I'm going to pause capture of the image and voice until we navigate to our next study. What you're seeing there faintly in the middle of the screen is Betelgeuse, Alpha Orionis, and I have just synchronized the scope to it. We'll go to one other star just to determine whether or not the synchronization and model that's loaded is reasonably accurate for GO2 years. Here we have Aldebaran. It's within probably 4 to 5 arc minutes of the center of the screen, as you can see there. So I would say we are getting a pretty good GO2 operation tonight. And there are reasons why it wasn't working so well last night. And I think that largely, as I mentioned earlier, had to do with the camera shifting its position in the OTA. Okay, what you're seeing here is a 2-second multi-stacked image using the ASI stacking feature for deep sky of Messier 42 and, to a lesser degree, 43, where it is nowhere near sky dark and those clouds are still drifting in, but not a bad view given the fact that the sky is filtering with some high thin clouds, and we got a beautiful center on the Great Nebula in Orion. Now we're going to flip the scope over and we're going to go after a little period of time some deep galaxies that I already attempted last night but was not able to get good images of because the screen contrast failed in relationship with the Sony Handycam, which prompted me to explore this new feature of actually capturing images and sound right on your laptop during real-time imaging sessions. Now about 8:04, clouds have been coming and going, but I do believe the middle third of the sky is in pretty decent shape. What we're searching for here is NGC 2513, a galaxy in Cancer the Crab. Magnitude 11.6, 2.5 by 2 arc-minute elliptical galaxy, 209 million light years distant. This one's probably somewhere around 150,000 light years in diameter. Now I am going to zoom in and hopefully we will get a view of it. And I am not quite seeing anything except for this fuzzy little star here right now, which would be only its core, but we're not actually quite close to sky dark. So I wouldn't expect to, oh, there's something even fuzzier right there. I wouldn't expect it to be capturing anything at this point. It's just that I wanted to pick out which NGC series would be closest to culminating at this hour. So this was my first example. Let's go to a bright star and make sure that we are getting good go-to accuracy. This is Procyon, and we are definitely not getting good tracking accuracy to the east. I'll center it up and synchronize and check one more star as part of the process of hoping that we can actually get views later on, if the sky is willing, of galaxies more towards the center of the field of view. Here we have Procyon centered roughly in the center of the field, and the model has now been synchronized. I did set the clock accurately up earlier. It was off by about 20 or 30 seconds, so it may have contributed some inaccuracies the previous evening. Well, we're looking for NGC 2513, that galaxy in Cancer again. Still haven't achieved sky dark, although the sky is darkening overhead. It's now a little after 8, it's about 8:10 in the evening. This galaxy should be a magnitude 11.6, 2.5 by 2 arc-minute elliptical, so pretty football shaped. 209 million light years distant, as I said earlier about the size of Messier 31, but an elliptical, so very mature galaxy. We're right ascension 8 hours, 2 minutes, 24 seconds with a declination of plus 9 degrees, 24 minutes and 47 seconds. I'm now going to go after maybe something, we're going to have to look at the screen tomorrow, and it's going to have to get darker. I could try pushing the exposure time. Right now it's at 2 seconds, so let's push that up a little bit. Let's go to 5 seconds and get a look. I'll leave the snipping tool active as it goes through the cycle. You can see that at the bottom of the screen down here. And if there's a galaxy at all, I'm beginning to see something that looks like a core right about there. So let's leave it at that. What we're looking for here is a galaxy in Hydra. It's magnitude 11.8, 3.3 by 1.3 arc minutes. I do believe it's sitting right about there. Sky isn't getting darker, but there's still high, thin clouds overhead. 2713 is a magnitude 11.8, 3.3 by 1.3 arc minutes, spiral with a bar in lowercase ab, 176 million light years distant, puts it at about the size of Messier 31 and 150,000 light years. We're at right ascension 8 hours, 57 minutes, 20 seconds with a declination just above the celestial equator, 2 degrees, 55 minutes, and 14 seconds. Pretty sure this is our galaxy here. I won't be able to do much zooming because it'll soon be out of the picture. Oh yeah, clearly a galaxy. And let's see if we can describe it. It does have a bar. You can see the bar there. You can see an aura around it. Not a great view for a almost 11th plus magnitude galaxy. What I may do is I may center up on it. Better to synchronize to deep sky studies often enough rather than stars because they do get a little shifty. Anyway, I will do a little synchronize on it. I'm sure this is our NGC 2713 that we're looking at there. Let's take a pause. Okay, having synchronized, let's zoom in. Wow. Once again, the galaxy is becoming far more present with e-zoom. You can see it right there. It looks like it's being a little bespeckled, however, and that could be due to atmospheric water as well as the thin cloud layer up there. So that's a pretty good view right there. Let's see if we drop it down to a reasonable magnification. Let's say 100%. which should be normative for galaxies. You can see the extension of the galaxy around it with the core as well. Not bad, but not as good as I might have hoped. Here we have NGC 2716. It's not quite centered, but let's see what we are in terms of our gain. 40%. Push it back up. See if we can get it in there at 100% gain, which is roughly about 250x. And you can see the galaxy there. NGC 2716 in Hydra is magnitude 11.8, smallish, 1.6 by 1.2, oblately presented spiral with a bar of the lenticular A class. So it's a little complicated. 161 million light years distant, puts it about 75 to 80,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 8 hours, 57 minutes, 35 seconds, with a declination of plus 3 degrees, 5 minutes, and 23 seconds. We are now 11 minutes and 5 seconds into our video, and I can tell that by just looking up at the snipping tool control bar. I believe I'm seeing several galaxies in this field, the brightest of which is probably NGC 2718 in Hydra. Magnitude 11.8, 2.1 by 2.1 arc minutes. So it basically should present with a core and then an aura of luminosity fading off into space. It's a spiral with a bar in lowercase ab, 172 million light years distant, puts it at about 100,000 light years in diameter. Its right ascension is 8 hours, 58 minutes, 50 seconds, with a declination of positive 6 degrees, 17 minutes, and 34 seconds. A little zoom in brightens the galaxy, but also makes the stars look less attractive. But there it is, and we can see the aura around it faintly. Hopefully better in the morning when I check these videos out. What we're going after here is a faint NGC 2741 galaxy in Cancer, magnitude 16, which is probably its blue-violet, so we're probably talking something more along the lines of 15, since it's a 0.4 by 0.2 arc-minute lenticular spiral, which typically has a blue-violet visual delta of about 1 magnitude. The galaxy is 145 million light-years distant, which puts it at probably no more than 25 to 30,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 9 hours, 3 minutes, 16 seconds, with a declination of plus 18 degrees, 15 and 40. The sky looks pretty dark overhead. I cannot promise anything about clouds. I will tell you that in the expected location, we are seeing a fuzzy nuclear core of galaxy, although we cannot be sure this is the one, but this is the region where most of the galaxies have turned up. We are operating at now to 50. Push it a little bit, see what turns up. Oh yeah, very clearly a galaxy right here. The E-zoom function really does bring things out as long as they end up somewhere near the middle of the field. Although I can compensate by moving the slider bars, don't prefer to play with that right now. What we're looking at here is a brighter galaxy with a very bright core. This is NGC 2749 in Cancer, magnitude 11.8, kind of small for a sub-12th magnitude galaxy, 1.8 by 0.7 arc minutes, elliptical class 2, so very close to being a perfect circle. Our sphere, 189 million light years distant, puts it about the size of the Milky Way, maybe 90,000 light years. We're at right ascension 9 hours, 5 minutes, 21 seconds, with a declination of plus 18 degrees, 18 minutes, and 47 seconds. And this galaxy warrants some E-zoom. And in so doing, we are clearly seeing its aura right around it. However, there is something fainter over here as well, but not quite as bright. So I would assume this is our study, and this is where most things have been turning up since I synchronized to one of the earlier galaxies in our tour. Something vague and faint is in this region of the screen. NGC 2766 is a galaxy, and once again in Cancer, magnitude 13.6, 1.4 by 0.5 arc minute means it's suboblate, supra edge on. It's a spiral with a bar in lowercase ab, so 1.5 times removed from lenticular, and it has a ring. 193 million light years distant puts it about 80,000 light years in diameter. We're right ascension 9 hours, 8 minutes and 47 seconds with a declination of plus 29 degrees, 51 minutes and 53 seconds. If the galaxy is somewhere, it is there. And we have learned that the way to bring them out is to e-zoom. But I cannot make any claims except for possibly right in about here. Although everything is kind of getting fuzzier as we zoom in. May have to refocus at some point, but let's stop here and see if we can't turn out up a nice, large, bright galaxy for perusal. A little hard for me to tell, but I believe there's kind of an edge-on, largish edge-on galaxy located right there on the screen, but there's also, now we're further north. We could be having some go-to difficulties. There really is a galaxy that corresponds with my expectations. This is in Lynx. It's NGC 2770, magnitude 12.2, 3.7 by 1.1 arc minutes, rather large for a 12th magnitude galaxy. Spiral with a class lowercase c, which typically means a very immature galaxy without a well-defined core and spiral arms. It's 94 million light years distant, right ascension 9 hours, 9 minutes, 33 seconds, and a declination of plus 33 degrees, 7 minutes, and 40 seconds. There is something there, and I will zoom to the degree that we can get away with it. But yeah, there is a galaxy there with its luminosity well spread out. No sense of core whatsoever. Going to be very intriguing to look at this one on the mañana because I'm having to look off axis at the screen, and a screen of a laptop I know doesn't give particularly good visual performance unless you're looking straight at it. So that was NGC 2770. We're now 17 minutes into our viewing session. All right, not too far from NGC 2770 was 2770b. The galaxy in Lynx, magnitude 16.6 by 0.5 arc minutes, simply classified as a spiral, 90 million light years distance, so rather dwarfish, maybe 25,000 light years in diameter. We're right ascension 9 hours, 9 minutes, and 19 seconds with a declination of plus 33 degrees, 7 minutes, and 21 seconds. Now, I cannot tell you if there is a galaxy. Remember, we lost that other one, but 2770, it probably dropped out of the bottom. There might be something right there, but there's many such faint luminosities on the screen. We'll do a little bit of a zoom to 100%, give it a moment to see if something pops. I would expect it to be up here, but remember that other galaxy, which corresponded to its description, was much lower on the screen. We are now on to the brightest, largest galaxy of the evening, NGC 2775, easily detected on the screen. I'll get you the data. I'd like to be able to capture a sub-10th magnitude galaxy, but this is pretty close. NGC 2775 in Cancer is magnitude 10.1, largish, 4.5 by 3.6, which means its average surface brightness is probably somewhere around 14. It's a spiral with a lowercase ab, 60 million light years distant, puts it at probably about 70,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 9 hours, 10 minutes, 20 seconds with a declination of positive 7 degrees, 2 minutes and 15. This, sweetie, should bear a reasonable amount of magnification, and that's as far as I can take it. You see the core, you see the core extensions around it, and that is our view of NGC 2775. Actually, it may spread out almost to right about here, looking at it at an angle that reveals more of its luminosity. Okay, what we're looking for here is NGC 2779, this galaxy in Lynx. I don't think we're getting any blockage of the aperture of the scope. Magnitude 15.5, 0.4 by 0.3 arc minute, spiral with a bar, lenticular A, so 1/2 times removed from the mature lenticular spiral class. 105 million light years distant puts this probably at about 25,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 9 hours, 12 minutes, 28 seconds with a declination of plus 35 degrees, 3 minutes, and 11 seconds. It's hard for me to tell whether or not we really have that 15th magnitude galaxy in view, but there is something suspect here and here, which are not in the right positions on the screen. We should be, that may very well be it right there, which is only revealed as we do our e-zoom function. Okay, we've dipped a little further south than usual. There may be some high thin clouds. Certainly the atmosphere is going to be thicker there. We're looking for NGC 2781, a galaxy in Hydra, magnitude 11.6, 3.1 by 1.8 arc minutes, spiral with a bar of lenticular class A and a ring, 89 million light years distant. It's at right ascension 9 hours, 11 minutes, 27 seconds with a declination of minus 1449 minutes. Clearly, there is a brightish galaxy located right here on the screen, and because we're further south, we would expect more error. So I've gone up to 50%, and we can see it there. Now, because it's such a bright galaxy, why don't I use the slider, center it up, and we will really push the e-zoom on this baby. Clearly, the galaxy has gotten brighter and brighter as we've done it. Now we're operating at, starting to pixelate at over 100%. So let's drop to 100% zoom. It looks like it has greater integrity right there. It does have the 3:2 aspect ratio that we might expect from this galaxy. It's giving a pretty bright view, although the stars in the area are also quite diffuse. Focus. I could play with the focus, but I personally want to continue to explore the depths of what we're able to pick out this very evening. All right, what we're looking for here is NGC 2783b, another galaxy in Cancer the Crab. Magnitude 15. What I like about it is its 8:1 aspect ratio, 1.6 by 0.2 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase b. 310 million light years distant. This galaxy is not as bright as Messier 31, but it's as large, if not larger, maybe 180,000 light years in diameter. If I had to guess what might be a kind of an edge-on galaxy, it would be this one right here. But its faintness, I don't know, it's pretty faint. Let's do a zoom on it. It's probably our galaxy. What I don't like is we're getting doubling on these stars. Now, I do have it in continuous mode, so it should overlay. Let's give, it's stalled. You can see it's stalled down here. Let's stop it and go again. Interesting. All right, we've initialized. We're doing 10-second exposures now. So the reason we saw the doubling of the stars is because it wasn't able to do a stack. Should be able to get a stack in. Okay, there we go. So I'm seeing kind of an extension going across this galaxy here. It does look like it has a pretty fine aspect ratio. So let's presume that that's NGC 2783b, although don't bet on it, and at least not anything that you really cherish. Magnitude 15, 1.6 by 0.2, spiral with a lowercase b, 310 million light years distant, right ascension 9 hours, 13 minutes, 32 seconds, with a declination of plus 29 degrees, 59 minutes and 58 seconds. What I'm going to do now is hold off, and we're going to have a look at the Leo Trio a little bit before we sign off this evening. We're now almost 25 minutes into our viewing session. Okay, what I have here is a pair of galaxies in the field of view. One is clearly larger than the other. Both are showing cores. This is showing a bit of an aura around it. And this one here is not only showing a core, but a bar and spiral arms. Now I'm going to describe two galaxies, and then you can figure out which one it is based on its... That's not it. Catalog. I'm going to describe one. The first one is a galaxy in Leo, magnitude 9.3. 9 by 2.3 arc minutes, some 35 million light years distant, roughly the size of our own Milky Way. It has a right ascension of 11 hours, 18 minutes and 55 seconds with a declination of plus 13 degrees, 5 minutes and 25. Not a great view of either of these galaxies. Because the scope is rather tilted off, we are getting some high thin clouds. We are, however, operating at 10 seconds exposure time, so I would expect to do rather well by them. I'm going to give you the data on the next one. It's also a galaxy in Leo, roughly the same magnitude, 8.9, but it's only 1 by 4.1 arc minutes, 35 million light years distant, roughly half the size of our own galaxy. So probably somewhere around 40,000 light years. Its right ascension is 11 hours, 20 minutes, and 14 seconds with a declination of plus 12 degrees, 59 minutes, and 34 seconds. There should be a third galaxy visible. And if I slide the slider, where is it, by the way? Here's one. We should be able to image it because it forms a pretty equilateral triangle. I am not able to grab onto the slider for some reason. So we are going to call this Messier 65, the larger one, and 66, the smaller one, our Carpe Noctem moment. 28 minutes and some 20 seconds into this video, which has been captured using software and microphone inherent to the laptop of Windows 11, as opposed to using an external handycam, which I have done traditionally in the past. This is a technique I have recently become acquainted with, and I'm very happy to do so. We will check the results. It may have completely been botched, and I do believe I've actually managed to pull it off. This sub 29 minute video tour of galaxies on what I wouldn't call a perfectly clear dark night, but a dark night nonetheless, using the ZWO imaging system on the 150 ED Eddy refractor mounted on the Wasmandy G11. And with that, I will say carpe